All right, it's time for that moment when 10.0 Splatoon 3 update kind of review. Yeah, I'm so happy about this. So, there's a lot to talk about here. First of all, obviously, Splatoon 3, one of my favorite games probably ever. It's a game that I think has a lot of flaws, but it is one that I think has gained a lot from just updates and very goofy, dumb, stupid play styles. I did not believe after probably December that we were getting third kits, which means I have no Sheldon licenses and I can't really play the game anyway. I did a couple games of Turf War before my hands were hurting, so I've done a little. I've done a little, but not during this patch and not with any of these weapons. But at least from a me perspective, I wanted to discuss all these weapon kits. I know the graphic is a little small, and I'm sorry, I'm going to be squinting at it, but someone made this. I just literally looked up 10.0.0 weapon kits list on Google image search and it popped up. So credit to this person, but it's not made by me. Actually, it says, oh no, the bottom just says weapon replicas and scope chargers excluded for readability. Cool. Anywho, I don't believe we're in a world where we have any triple kits, but there is a lot of double kits, which is both good and bad. One of my favorite weapon kits in the game did get put on another favorite weapon of mine, which I'm aware is being considered probably the second or third worst kit, maybe even the worst kit in the patch between the main, sub, and special, which is fair, but I don't really care. Um, let's just discuss this. So, first of all, we have, let's just go from left, top down, all the way to the right. We have the new Wiper with Curling Zuka. In fact, we got 3 new Zuka weapons, which I'm okay with because Zuka got nerfed, but I'm a little wary about it. However, the 3 weapons that did get it, at least in my opinion, are not insane weapons. I mean, Wiper's pretty good, but they didn't give it a combo sub, so I'm okay with it. I'm fine with Wiper getting Zuka. It doesn't have the most value out of it, so I'm fine with it. Mini is a very good main weapon that I think deserves it, especially since now it doesn't have any kind of sub to really support itself. But also, I'm very thankful because we finally have Beacon on a Splatling. I don't believe we had Beacon on a Splatling in this game. I think we did an S2, excuse me, and maybe S1, but we did not in Splatoon 3. So getting it on a Splatling at all is very happy. I'm very happy about that. And I think Mini deserves Zook. Why not? I will say also, I don't believe any of the points for special are above 200 here. A lot of them were in the like 190 range, which is a little scary given a lot of the subs are pretty good, but we'll get into that. Then we have the new Wall Zook, which was the new paintbrush. So I've heard mixed opinions about this. Me personally, I'm gonna probably really enjoy this kit, but I understand why. Because there are two different things. The gut reaction is, oh no, paintbrush is a really annoying weapon that relies on not dying during its startup. The problem is that Wall takes a lot of its ink tank, and it also does take time, and so it's not necessarily the best thing to be tossing Wall and then praying you don't trade, especially because it kind of limits your angles a bit. I don't. I think that there is some really big advantages and some really big disadvantages. I think in casual, this is going to be one of the most annoying kits in the game. Paintbrush already is one of the most annoying kits in the game. Like, main Paintbrush is one of the most annoying weapons in the game. And so, and like it already has like the nouveau kit, which is really annoying. And so I don't know, it gets some good value out of this. I'm pretty scared of playing this in very like low level turf and open and stuff. um Curling Crab, I forgot that was a repeat kit, is now the new Dreadringer. So a couple things with this. First of all, oh no, this is probably the best Dreadringer kit in the game. It also just Dreadringer paints incredibly well. So it getting crab is scary. I know crab got nerfed a little bit, and I'm very thankful it did. I like crab, but at the same time, I also really don't. Like, I like crab as an alternative to other specials that are more annoying. Like, I like crab more than bubble being good, or strike being good, or Zuka being good. But I don't really like crab itself. It still locks out areas from a distance, and that is kind of lame to me, even if it requires more actual skill. Like, I don't know. I'm not the biggest fan of it, but it getting a little more, harder on the damage side, I think is good, and especially because it's not a ton. So I'm very thankful about that. But anyway, this did get crab, but it didn't get a real sub. Kind of. Curling doesn't really do anything for it. Curling does stuff on some weapons. I don't think Dread's mobility was ever a problem, and I really don't think. I don't know. I like that pass through curling combos with the weapon, but like, when are you ever hitting pass through curling? It's not really good. It is lethal, but like, I don't know. It's a very whatever thing. I think if this got Torp Crab, I would have been horrified. I'm glad it did not get both. But I don't know. I was kind of hoping for another stupid kit, but we already have a stupid kit with the beacon wave, so that's fine. And I guess the vanilla kit's also kind of dumb, but at least like it's a pretty good weapon kit, so I don't know. Then we have another beacon weapon, and the last beacon weapon so far, being Blaster. V Blaster got or original Blaster got beacon and crab tank. So I don't know how to feel about this. I really like a lot of weapons with beacon that just kind of get it. This is another lightweight with beacon. Or no, this is not a lightweight weapon. I always forget that. This is another just weapon with beacon. Because we got a lot of other I mean, you can look at the chart, but like I know from my memory of Neo Splash or Neo Sploosh, and like the Wiper Deco, and like there's other weapons that kind of can rat around a little bit, and do have beacons, and I do like that they have beacons, and so getting another weapon with that is cool, especially because there is no blaster with beacon. But yeah, it is kind of weird. Like I feel like there is some other weapons that maybe could have benefited from it more of the other blasters, but I digress. Yeah, so I don't know. Yeah, I'm very weird on this. Again, I don't. The problem is I don't like using Crab Tank very often. So like, and I do play blasters, especially custom blaster. So this is like maybe my least favorite blaster kit. But in terms of watching the game, it will be really cool. So I don't really have a massive problem with it. We then have the new charger. The new Splat Charger is Sprinkler Crab. This might be my favorite crab kit in the game. Now, V-Splash is pretty up there. Again, I don't like Burst Bomb. I'm an avid Burst Bomb hater. I just generally think it doesn't require nearly as much skill as a lot of other subs. I understand it has a high skill ceiling, but you can kind of throw around aimlessly and still win in most like open series, even X rank. It's really not that hard to just kind of be stupid with it. And so I'm not the biggest fan. Anyway, I was saying more because V-Splash I still like because it just paints for it very easily, and because it's a very brain dead weapon in my opinion. I don't find Splash to be a very like engaging weapon, and Splash is a lot more stupid in my opinion, but I don't find V-Splash to be very engaging. And at the same time, I like that this already plays at the distance. Charger already plays at a distance where Crab is kind of useful. I also, V-Scope in particular, like Vanilla Splatter Scope, is like one of my favorite main weapons in the game. I say that with a lot of main weapons, but like genuinely, I really, really love that weapon, and that getting Splat Bomb was really cool. This with Sprinkler, I actually don't mind at all. I think Sprinkler on backlines is quite good. I mean, we have Pen. Pen has proved that you can use Sprinkler well, especially in zones and learning all these Sprinkler spots. but also just because you can use it as a defensive tool. There's a lot of cool things with it, so I'm very happy about that. I think this is just a very cool weapon to get crab. I really have no problem. We have no slider weapons. Obviously, maybe not obviously, this is my favorite or second favorite special in the game, so this not getting another kit is pretty sad. I don't have too much to say there. Again, mostly I like it for the things it combos off of, but whatever. We do thankfully have two more splashdown weapons, and one of which I'm actually quite happy about, and it seems the community is not, and I'm okay with that. So we have Jet. Jet getting a splashdown is really funny. Um, it is the first shooter to get splashdown, which is cool. I kind of wish it was on shot, but I know that isn't really what people would have wanted, so I'm okay with it. It has burst. Burst with splashdown has some really dumb synergy that I'm a little afraid of, but again, Jet I don't think deserved an amazing kit, and it getting splashdown kind of balances with the burst, and also again it's kind of a custom explo situation of a backline that actually probably can use splashdown decently. I really have no problem with this. Again, burst is mainly my problem, but it already had two bad subs. It got dart and missed, so I guess it's okay. But I do feel like this is probably the best jet kit in the game, which I'm a little afraid of, but I don't know. Then we have Big Swig. So Big Swig got Torp Splashdown, which is probably one of the coolest like subspecial combos in the game for me. Torp is a really fun sub. Fizzy's like the only other one that's in contention, and no, we did not get Fizzy Splashdown. I am sobbing, but I don't know. I do think Torp gets a lot out of being on Big Swig, or vice versa, but like, you know, basically Torp on Big Swig good. There's a lot more combos you can do. And I don't think that Big Swig deserved a good special. I know that's really mean, and we just talked about Jet, where this is kind of the same thing, because both of those kits had their vanilla kit with Vac and their second kit with... Actually, yeah, they all three of those kits line up exactly. Vanilla Big Swig and Vanilla Jet both have Vac, because it's Dart Vac, right? And then is that right? Let me triple check on this chart. But I'm pretty sure, because I don't want to make a fool of myself. Yeah, no, Big Swig and Jet, and then our Vac, and then Alt are both Storm, and then now these are Big Swig. So these are both. That's really funny. That's so random. Okay. But yeah, those two lined up. I'm very happy with this. I think from a balancing perspective, I don't think Big Swig deserved a real special. It simply paints too much. I understand that you could, but I like I'm honestly more afraid of Big Swig getting Torp Crab than Dread, simply because it's a little too annoying, and because that vertical flick is good. Swig can be good. It's just very hard to use, and a lot of that has to deal with the fact that its kits don't fit any real comp, because like wall vac is like very situational in very specific modes, and dart storm is also just kind of not great. So this is by far the best kit, but I honestly have no problem with it. I think Big Swig can take weird angles, and Splashdown helps you kill up with weird angles, so I really don't have a problem with the kit. And I'm still going to be afraid of it just because it has Torp. Next, we have no stamp weapons, which is really funny because we had the big stamp buff patch not too long ago. Two Kraken weapons. Yeah, shot got Kraken. This is the second shooter with Kraken, so I don't know. Like 96, I feel like earns it a little bit more. It's a much harder main. Shot getting it with burst on I think 190p. I'm not sure how I feel about that, but oh well. It's cool. It's a cool kit. I don't know. Like it looks like it would be very fun, but I'm not really the most happy that it exists. But I don't know. It's all right. Octobrush got Autobomb and Kraken. This is like its god kit from everything I've heard, and I believe it. I think this is really cool, and I think that it earned it. I think Octobrush is a hard main. Um, yeah, I don't know. Then we got Jet. Jet, notoriously one of my least favorite specials to use in the game, up there with Crab and Screen. Screen mostly just for accessibility purposes, but also it's just really boring. Um, but Jet is just like, I don't know. It's a little awkward. It's not great in the meta right now. I don't know. It's just a little weird. But we got it on L3 with Splat Bomb, which is a little scary, but also L3 doesn't. Again, this is one of those things where Jet's not good enough for me to feel great. But I don't know. I don't know how I feel about Shooter getting bomb and that, but yeah, it's not the best main weapon in the game. It just does paint a lot, so it will get a lot of Jets. And it made Anakin Nova terrible, which I'm okay with. I like Anakin Nova, but that predominantly does not have to deal with the fact it paints for Jet. It predominantly has to deal with the fact that it's a shooter with mine. Because I'm weird. Anyway, then we have Dart Jet on the bow, which is really cool. This is maybe one of the cooler Jet weapons. I mean, now that I'm looking at all of them, this is probably my favorite. I like that Ballpoint has Fizzy Jet, but it doesn't really. I'm not the biggest fan of that kit. Like, I prefer the alternate Ballpoint kit, to be honest. So, I don't know. No zip weapons. Very sad. I am a little disappointed. Zip is, I think, one of the coolest specials in the game because it actually utilizes the main weapons in the special without kind of taking you out. It's not like, a wave or whatever. I feel like there are a lot of weapons that could have used zip. Maybe even reflux, but I understand they made a much cooler kit for it, so whatever. But I would have liked some dumb zip weapon or even just kind of a cool one, just something. I would have liked that. Um, yeah. Whale. We got 3 more whale weapons. So we got the new, I think that's the new Dapple Dualies, which is a little scary, although I do think that it getting Splat Bomb is so expensive that I'm not that scared of it, but Whale does mean you can quad roll, which is a little scary, but again, not that much end lag. I don't know. Looks like a very fun kit, but I think I'm probably going to prefer the blue Dapple. Then we have third undercover kit. Hey, we know we gave it the ableist special and we made it bad, but what if we gave it Curling Whale, which is a unique kit? Let's just say this is bad. The one thing is people said, oh, because of curling pass through, you can combo a little earlier, which is not really good. I don't know. It gets a lot of whale, and that's it. I don't really know. Like, again, this actually seems worse than V Nova, and I know that's a weird thing to say, but I feel like V Nova gets more out of its kit. Anywho. Then we have, let's talk about V Nova, because we put its kit on Dynamo. And I prefaced this all by saying this because V Nova is one of my favorite kits in the game. It is a shooter with main strafing that has point sensor. I love point sensor. We're looking at all the point sensor weapons in the game. There's not many, right? H3 is the only other one, and it is a hard weapon. Hard weapon. And like Custom Blaster, one of my favorite weapons in the game. Explo, one of my favorite weapons in the game, right? I love sensor. I'm a very big sensor, and mine are my favorite subs in the game, and I do play every weapon. So it's not just, oh, I really like backlines. Nope. Like, my main is Aerospray, vanilla Aerospray, because the 35 combo on the slider. It's just really dumb. It works in all modes. I'd prefer it in all modes. I don't really care about zones, because I don't really care about zones cheese. But yeah, Sensor Whale is one of my favorite subspecial combos in the game. It simply just does a lot of location, and it makes it feel like, oh, I can actually help my team, especially in a solo queue environment where people really do not work with each other. I feel like you get a lot more out of it. Um, Dynamo is one of my favorite mains in the game. Both kits I have in 4-star, same thing with Nova, and I understand that this means it's not going to have anything to paint its feet. This is probably the best weapon to get dart, in my opinion. I know that's a weird thing to say, but I feel like it needs to paint its feet so much more often, and it got that out of Sprinkler, but Sprinkler's more expensive, so I feel like it could have gotten just a lot more out of a dart, but I don't care. I'm very happy about this. For me personally, I don't know how good it will be or good, how it'll feel. Maybe Whale with the Dynamo will do some weird end lag cancels. I don't really know. But either way, I'm very happy about this. This is like kind of a dream. Again, anytime that they put one of my favorite kits on another weapon that I like, it's pretty rare. And they were very close to doing it twice. Very close to doing it twice, and they didn't. So, yeah. And we will get to my most hated kit in the patch, probably in the game, pretty shortly. But, or well, maybe not shortly, but we'll get to it. Then we have, where am I at? We're on the Booyah weapons, which we got another Autobomb Booyah weapon. And it's Stamper. We got another good Stamper kit. So Stamper has some of the most, I mean, it's clearly one of the most well-liked weapon kits in the game. Splatons in general have so much bias by the devs, and it does upset me purely because and again, I do think it's a cooler weapon class than a lot of other classes. My problem is that it ends up kind of nullifying a lot of the other melee type weapons like rollers and stuff. I understand they still get usage, but like, dear God, you get so much out of so much range on all of them. It's very dumb, and I think they can be very brain dead. This one in particular is the easiest Stamper kit in the game, in my opinion. V-Stamper is hard because it has a high, a weird skill floor and a high skill ceiling, like the highest skill ceiling in the game. The second kit has Crab, which is really good, but is kind of hard to use, and its sub is kind of just there. But this has Autobomb Booyah. It is the best kit for tower control for it, which was its worst mode. Now Stamper has a kit for every mode. It's kind of disgusting. I'm a little sad that it exists just because it could have been on anything else. But you know what? I'm happy for the Stamper players. You get to be annoying in another mode. And I'm going to use it. Like, Autobomb is not one of my favorite subs in the game, but I do like cheap subs because it really just lets you do stuff. And Autobomb is in a couple of my favorite kits. So I don't... Actually, I guess only one, huh? I guess it is only one, which is the Vanilla Carbon. I do love Vanilla Carbon. So I could see myself really enjoying it. Yeah, I don't know. Reflux got Torp Booyah. This is incredible for Reflux. In fact, this is probably the best Reflux kit outside of Turf War, maybe even in Turf War. I don't really know, but this gives it a lot of mileage, and Torp combos very well with it. I'm very excited because it's so often that you get the 90 and not the 100, and it's just going to be way easier to combo. Way, way easier to combo, especially because it can tap fire for so long, so very cool. Then we have the new V-Doolies, which is Fizzy Bubble. If this was Fizzy Splashdown, it couldn't have happened. That doesn't even make sense. But Fizzy Bubble, maybe Fizzy Slider, but I mean, we already have 2 Slider Doolies. But still, Bubble is really good. Fizzy's really, really good. And this is already a really good main weapon. So, Doolies won here, honestly. This is like one of the best kits of the patch, I think. Unironically, this just seems very good. So, very cool. New Hydra with Sprinkler Bubble is horrifying. Wall Bubble maybe would have been a little scarier, but honestly, this is still very scary. I yeah, I don't know. This is a tower control menace, but it deserves it. This is a hard main weapon. It deserves it. Let me extend real quick. All right, there we go. Now we're on to Suction Bomb Tri-Strike, which is on H3. I will say we have Splat Bomb Tri-Strike on a shooter and Suction Bomb Tri-Strike on another shooter, and now we have another shooter with it. But again, H3 is so uniquely different that I think this is okay. This is kind of an insane kit, but on a weapon that has some of the hardest time in the entire game. It's probably one of the hardest weapons in the game, that just in general. So that's cool. I don't really got a problem with that. Then there's no more strike weapons, which is good. Tent got an incredibly bad kit. It got Mist and Chump. I'm realizing I missed the other Chump weapon, and we'll get back to it. Yeah, this is just a really bad kit. I like Chump weapons. Again, I love Gold Dynamo, but Gold Dynamo has Splat Bomb. This has Mist. This is incredibly bad. So, yeah, really unfortunate. The new Carbon, V Carbon, third most played weapon in the game. Probably like it more than my second most played, which is Custom Range. And they gave it Fizzy, and I was really, really happy because Fizzy on a lightweight is like Aerospray, right? I really, really, really like that, because the only other one, I don't think there is any other ones. I guess maybe Try, but I don't really. I mean, Try is dumb. So, and I have Try at 4-star, Try Nouveau at 4-star. Anyway, but it does have Chomp. And I do think it is funny that the lightest weight weapon and the heaviest weight weapon both have Chomp for rollers. And then there was something else. It was like the lightest and the heaviest of something of a whale, but I don't remember. Oh yeah, of because of the new Dapple and the oldest Dowsers. Anyway, I'm 50-50 on this kit. I think it's good. I think it's not bad. I think it's going to be one of my favorite. I'm going to prefer it to Carbon Deco. I hate Carbon Deco more out of principle. I also just don't. I mean, I don't really like using it. I there's a play style with Carbon that I get much more out of with Zipcaster and Autobomb than I do with Burst and Zuka, just personally. So yeah, I don't know. This is one of the biggest ones in the patch for me. Carbon Fizzy was probably Fizzy is usually my most wanted sub on any weapon, but on Carbon in particular, I'm very happy about that. There's no new wave weapons, which I think is unfortunate. We'll get to the only storm weapon, which is another overlapping kit. So many. And it's Mist Storm on Splash. I will be the first to say I am very happy. Screw Splash. It does not deserve anything. It is just a paint bot. I don't want it to paint bot another good special. It already has 2 good specials. Don't give it a third. And it's funny. It is sad that they didn't give it Zipcaster. I think that's what it deserves. But Storm is funny. I have no real issue with this. Now we get to Screen. So I will preface by saying I hate that Screen is in the game in its current state. It is just straight up ableist. There are a lot of people who cannot deal playing against Screen. There's reasons why Screen is banned by option in a lot of tournaments. I have friends that play competitive, and none of them can play against Screen. So I don't really even like that there are new Screen kits before they actually properly do more, damage control. There are other things they can do with the effect of Screen. Like, they clearly have done effect things, like with the Storm stuff. Just, like, come on. Make it, like, darken your screen, and then not do the noise, and then maybe even do the fog effect. That's what I wanted. I wanted it to do a fog effect. Which I had seen someone say, well, isn't that redundant? But I honestly think that, I don't know, you have to do, it already is supposed to mask your vision. I think masking your vision further is a good idea. First we have Try, which is Splat Bomb. This kit is apparently good because you can combo with it. Yuck. I'm gonna skip over the second one. Maybe I'll do it last, honestly. And then we got the new Squelchies. The new Squelchies point sensor screen, which I'm gonna be honest, because again, we have Flingza, right? Foil Flingza is one of my favorites. It's probably my favorite screen weapon in the game, just because it has a bomb. But this is one where it actually gets location, and I think sensor screen has a lot of good synergy. So if screen gets fixed, this is probably going to be one of my favorite weapon kits. Probably my favorite Squelchies weapon kit. So I understand people don't like it and they're sad because it got another kind of weirdly useless special, but I don't know. I think it has some cool synergy, and I already think it's a great main weapon, so I don't care that it doesn't have a special. Then we got Pro, which got Splat Bomb missiles. This is a really good kit. I don't have a problem with it because it's on Pro, so that's fine. Then we have Novak weapons, which is kind of funny. And then we have two new cooler weapons being the new Rapid Pro, which I think deserves it, especially with suction. And although I probably would have taken it with Torp, but you know, who cares? This is good. And then Dart cooler for 52, which I think is good because Dart combos with it, but also it doesn't deserve a better sub. But also, seriously, like 96's RNG is so bad that I actually kind of am happy that it has Dart. I think this is one of the cooler weapons to get Dart because you can Dart combo to ensure that you don't miss. Yeah, it's slower. I don't think that's the problem. The problem is that this is now not going, like, you can, if you aim it properly, you will not miss. So I think that's cool. Now let's retrace our steps. I will reiterate, my least favorite sub to use in the game is Burst Bomb, and Screen is Ableist. Now you put it on the most paint spammy weapon in the game, other than maybe like End Splash, and my main. I can't express how disappointed this kit made me feel. Burst, obviously, I understand it's on other arrow sprays, but that doesn't mean it should be. We already got two other shooters with Burst, including Shot. There's no real reason to do it. And we have it on Splash. Like, there's no real reason to do it again. And we gave it Screen, where you can get like 139 points per special screen with special charge. I've checked. This is incredibly disappointing. I don't really have the words because not only can I not play this main weapon, but I wouldn't want to anyway. Burst is just not fun. I'll probably end up doing it where I throw Screen off the map just to play it. It also is not the most visually appealing one. It's just silver arrow spray again with some rainbow on the end. I have so much that I am upset about with this. I low-key think they could have given it Bubble as a reference or Crab as a reference. There are other things they could have given it. Maybe not Crab. Like, there are things they could give it, and Screen is not one of them. And even then, they know people have a problem with Screen. Why did they add 3 Screen weapons? Why 3? That doesn't even make sense. There's more Screen weapons than missiles by 2. Like, there's 8 Screen weapons in the game now. I don't understand. I'm genuinely baffled. This is not an interesting special. This is not a special that the community is happy about. Clearly, you know that they're not happy about it, and yet you do it anyway. So, I'm disappointed. This is one of the most upsetting things about the patch. Probably the most upsetting thing about the patch for me, other than the fact that Switch 2 is having some pretty big problems, it seems, between the online, some other stuff, although it looks very pretty. And actually, let's quickly discuss the rest of the update before we eventually talk about Raiders. The patch was fine. I'm happy about the crab nerf. I'm happy about the wave buff. That's about all I remember. I guess Mist got like a little bit buffed, but like who cares? Mist isn't good. And it getting better at its job is not really important until it gets significantly better at its job. So, I don't know. It was a very okay kit. Okay, bleh. It was a very okay patch. We'll see more from it later. I'm hoping we get more third kits later, but then again, I don't know. This was all for the anniversary, clearly, because it was like the same. This got announced like 11 years after the E3 trailer, so who knows? Urchin is awesome. I've not played in it. I've only seen it, but looks very cool. Very happy about it. It is a little wonk. It like I have a little Stockholm syndrome. It looks like it doesn't belong in the game because of its size and stuff, but it's very cool. It's probably one of the best maps in the game, which is nuts. Like at least like top 10, but probably top 5. Um, yeah, you know that moment when I don't know. We'll have to talk about Raiders at some point.